looking in the program, actually, I kind of supplied Stephen with a load of really dumb information that the poem in there actually was a rough draft. It's been corrected since, so don't look at it. Buy the book instead. Secondly, I was asked to provide just a little description. I kind of Stephen said, what's contraband about? And I said this. Contraband is a 21st century manifestation of talent card, a loosely knit coalition of the living and the dead, who constitute a black market, offer contraband goods that affirm the need for social transformation rooted in feminist and Marxist critique. We remain committed to a total destruction of the mainstream publishing industry. And he didn't change it. I thought the little reference to the Star Wars Extended Universe would be amusing to him, and he spotted it. I don't think anyone else would. There's no reason why you should. But yes, contraband, yes. Basically, it's just basically this is an attempt to kind of produce kind of books that are over 40 pages. Like I say, since Sol stopped doing it very recently, there's been a bit of a gap there. So, like I say, I'm trying to kind of produce books that represent maybe 3 chapbooks put together, or kind of sizable books. Like I say, this is Nat Raha's collection, which I'm absolutely delighted to be publishing. It's as you can see, it's come out beautifully. Thanks to Del, the Grace Volcano, the artist who provided the picture on the front. I'm just going to introduce Nat now. So Nat, I think I heard Nat reading Quarter when he was, and that's what kind of put me onto this collection. Like I say, this is why, like I say, I was very, very excited when I read it and asked if she'd be interested in publishing it as a book, and she was. And Nat lives in London. Her poetry includes countersonnets, Contraband, 2013, which is very front. And Mute Exterior Intimate, Oyster Catcher, 2013, polemics by La Leila in Via Sums 1, Via Books, 2012, Octet, Via 2010. Her work is anthologized in The Dark World, edited for David Davenport, Apple Pie, 2013, Dear World and Everyone in It, Blood Axe, 2013, and Better the Language, an anthology of new modernist poetics, edited by Chris Good, published by Gansberg. And her work has appeared in Angel Exhaust, Down the Caesars, Iodine Lung Player, and Inside My Head, My Dogs to Bears Eat. Great title. She is undertaking a PhD in Marxist queer theory and contemporary poetry at the University of Sussex, and also helps out with Nine Arrows Press. Please give a big hand to Nat Raha.
Thanks to David, who I've just nearly spilled water on. Cheers. Thanks for putting together this book, and it was a very slow and patient process. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. I'm not gonna try and say anything else about it. But I'm going to read from the title sequence. Countersonnets. The epigraph is from Frank O'Hara. Here where to love at all is to be a politician. Dust refracts by freeze, indicative toward fold all visible wavelengths suspend. Us, paired regent. History flitters, eyeing immediate, where doubt quenched by blackout leaves flesh to swap and impress, hold sensate. Rational, denounced, motions to destabilize exchange of limbs declared we resonate about other, nearer edging basin its vacancy, a non-conversed, effective within calm, bruised only by waking and nerves strain you chase to repetition, occupied in near mirroring, slow. Is to time haze that textual dereifies, hand traverses to nose X, hails. A neuro joy sparking and lips surrounds a face and lids draw in print hold, and dismounts caffeine, the dusk light fracks total in, you're about to, specific by the melt lean palm bloom's quietude, emits additional, externalized from the swap. Coincide snowfall, beings reach referent, turned into stems animate, thirsting off doses of other location, audible in absence in today, as sunlight direct breaks town hall that joy aces through flash, lips mutual. Salute to rebel flashes in the give, each is drawn from exhalations, press temporal, curtained by a boundary. Degrees paled in the noon tidal, preoccupied by breathing, now language at rest, with wrists caressed fine to every possible permutation of its move, near to effect through flesh you draw lengths across. Sky clarity AM conditional by arms wave and carry, south and east singing to our transits. Left rad politic pinned on lapels draws glare of our counterpoints. Curled still of bodies take to motion out after weather facet inevitable, discontinuous. Soft speaking to climb, it was Sunday, installed abstract and something is beeping its climax and something emitting a vocal and something is keeping the clock against the slowly brace. Day's third quart, our intellectual labour occupies, equipped snow. Lips, nurse, femme, moustache, you're handsome to the rarity of our once by E9 canal evening, regency of barges and gardens open, trill-beaten cloche, shared we lose selves in joy, kiss historically specific, detourn, realist spectacle they cannot sell, the beautiful anger in queer love, flows flesh celebrant in our low-lit multiplicity of gestures, counter-memories and political disdain, over avocado salad, making out under brims and expression able beyond, to desire by spatio-temporal of arms engender solace. Of opportune traditions, of pandering to conservative forms, structure, desires effective to plateaus by which to pleasure others, refrain plastered through newsprint, legal, neoliberal, is not ours. Plural pronouns diverged on privileged lines within wage of minimal to no command terms theirs. We fuck against tying selves to own dreams that they room in, discourse of canopies and homo-nationalism. As fracture, co-opt political lockout into dormant, feed energetic, taking hands to a collectivity for relational modes lived as variously as possible. From historic rupture and street violence, pigs in bars, critical songs of our imaginaries. Brixton, season dull with traffic, wet windrush, nerves out, late, Thursday weeks, Volta, phones quiet, marking its poem, drummed semiquavers, 7, counter-decade rhythm. Yet, dry in the eye of the other, eyes on tourists, worn focal off, in space without caffeine's brush from you, all basic circus, umbrellas left in, and weather discourse repeats, like control synonym to papers, long-term unemployment up, etc., and with lights hanging for turn toward Labour's Day, frames hours movement dissipates us in structures, tires, bruises, relational alterations in the real, strains aesthetic. Intimacy's chords hung bare dissipate with the carve of geography, thinning gravity that situates my circulations in absence threadbare. The city, its historical stagnation, reversal, and erasure of romanticism blooms lesions. Just to vacate in hands, or for its wares not to grapple poverty demarcated in today's presence, its monument or weather systems, distinction local to the physical absence we type through in intellectual labour, with redundant love lyric as the subcognate, is just torrents of spring loss somewhere on the overground network. Girls affect thin to lived competitive. Comms lull. Lane whilst feet brush, duvet raw minus intimate, of eyes caught, disarmed and just. Yet light, it is early evening, hums a song not named, barely to embodiment gainst monumental, as this, neither Washington Square or Victoria Parks, is for queer girls. In art or eyes, both continuums you no longer kiss. And given all of the leaves, winds, and tree types still rhyme in this poem, I lose clock only the tip of loss, the residue of lower to top lip, brush cheek, crossed by nose, by your teeth kissed breast to caress and wrist about sorrows forgotten through absenting motives. Beside platforms for excavation, taking sun, casual in the unsold hour, to wrap streams in sleep falls onto label re-engineered, and how, spun in passion with glance and gaze centrifugal, our joy organic, situated, covered within hierarchy. Inversely proportioned as obsolete and under threat to particular social tables, life economies against our being in the world, arms militant feminisms, physical transgression sources negative affect in norms, i.e. their happiness is theirs, things of contents proxim variable. Encounter hours threads desire from hap to utopian, nurses your rare hum and kiss, melancholic, tear pleasure in the public being, misery her, calling the curve, fleeting darling arm, cross skin, queer joy, an art system of deviations and values, recollected in hat flicks, representing an historical, unread in a common analytic. Engrave, sight lacked, effective of serotonins that carry through rooms content anticipating plural to fingers, lips, discourse, heads wash in homecoming, wait handsome from brogues up, gifts of Riley by red teapot proxim to kitchen table contemplate and humming in lipstick with love kisses to your cunt, arms curve, heads turned to other hour. Intimacy, phrase as your thoughts of Combry and dogs in Levertov materialise in a town abstract to countersonnet I in your joy of. And London is grotesque and verbal palette shrinks in loss of comms filling hours after wage labours colonise what we used to brace in slow calm of ourselves. Concept dream score draws your recent window and townside from subcognate despite geographic abstract, decolours weather systems. You, in the pleasure of hours, necessitate repulsion, ever slow to arch, bridge femme, eyes washed to station not known, to wake continuity, animates your slaughtered want, caved in, still close by belly, lift, enter touch other in arms, and in the try to unhitch your parachute, stumbles embrace last hours your heroics left, with head strokes on sofa I commemorate, tied, prior, present, historicizes all but my personal pronoun in these countersonnets, whose love sacrificial to the scene you enabled, drive from, dissolve. Night. Conditions omitted. Barely durable to hum of heterosexual couples. Thoughts dismayed rotate your new and kept temporal giving to boys closest by property relations. Stall less negates wanton hand and headstruck and kiss and plural pronoun archaic afflicts libidinal. Lips split in sleep of not spring, torrents by once, gained to cuts to gained, silence the wet privacy of evenings, not caring for your double glazing, but the cognitives you no longer speak. Sickly eyes fervorous by pollen wake to verdant grey eyes purr, reject, negative impasse, fed by love that torched your want, my grounding gap, girl out of head, gasoline douse hair, set it light and. Quiet phrase nerve through fixates physical, dispersed, restraint cross utterances, telephones, sonnet affects, thinning love and eras open toward queer bodies. And you are always tying up and deciding to depart, E9, calm, expansive, relational hour condemned, season drilled by bailiffs. Praxis weavers, melancholia and days. Sestets, labours, heat across skin. Talk dwells brave for art and all else, lapses with loss, edge, anticipation behind lone spider with window. Decades imperialism parades, imperialist, and decades individualism parades, imperialist, absolute separation from new effectives as you jubilate within offerings and arms. Final sonnet. Economy chains me to this SW2 block and slept hour 1:58 AM unobtainable. Fleet's justice from physical strained, and you precipitate countryside present with a male lover, in privilege of household, wine glasses singing joy's multiplicity, expressive across embodiments. And this praxis, weary with loss, aestheticizes arterials against history, to reject transitive want, thrive failed by love, and to negate I must negate the poem. Thanks.